Private investigators are some of the most vulnerable professionals today when it comes to technology and being hacked. This is because of our almost constant need for connectivity, for communications, and for access to data whenever and wherever. I myself have fallen into this same trap in the past. I'm out on a case. I need to run a license plate, do a quick social media search, send an email to a client or whatever, and when I grab my phone, I see I have little to no data signal. So what do? Well, I do what everyone would do. I head over to my phone's Wi-Fi to see if I can find myself a free Wi-Fi hotspot to use for just a few seconds. And hopping on to most free Wi-Fi seems safe. It seems fairly innocuous. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, we all do it all the time and nothing ever happens. Or does it? The biggest problem with free public Wi-Fis is that they are, well, public and they are free. And that in and of itself invites hackers to try to exploit those connections. The worst and easiest hack, though, is not to hack you through those free public Wi-Fis. What they do is much more nefarious than that and much harder to protect yourself from if you aren't aware of the risk in the first place. I will talk about ways you can protect yourself from these hacks in a few moments, too. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. The hack I am talking about is often referred to as the evil twin hack. Now, this hack has been around for quite some time, but there are always new twists to them, and we need to look at some of those new exploits the hackers are using today. The evil twin hack is similar to the man-in-the-middle hack, and we will also discuss the differences between the two of these attacks as well. The evil twin attack is where the hacker, the attacker, the bad guy, goes out and sets up a fake Wi-Fi hotspot with the same SSID and encryption settings as legitimate free public Wi-Fi hotspots. And in some cases, they don't even have to clone the credentials of the legitimate connection, as many times phones go solely by the Wi-Fi's name alone. Have you ever noticed if you connect to a hotspot at your favorite fast food restaurant, now whenever you go to that restaurant or another one at another location, you are quickly and oh so conveniently connected to their hotspot too. This is because they name them the same, and most have no password login required. And if they do have a password, that is easy enough to overcome. The hack works like this. You connect to my favorite place to be free Wi-Fi. The hacker creates a fake hotspot that is named my favorite place to be free Wi-Fi. Notice it has the exact same name. So what does your phone do when it sees both? Well, it connects to the stronger of the two signals. So the hacker just has to deploy his attack system between you and the primary hotspot. Or he might connect to it outside or a block away, so you connect to his system first. But this isn't the biggest threat to us. Oh no, the biggest threat we are seeing now is targeting professionals just like us in our most vulnerable moments. We are starting to see these hacks occurring at hotels, many times at those upscale hotels where professionals go when they travel or go to conferences or training events. Now the hackers set these up in places like training areas, conference room areas, parking areas where most data signals are the weakest. No worries, when we signed in at the front desk for our hotel or when we signed in for the conference or the meeting room, we got the free guest Wi-Fi credentials. And being the smart people we are, knowing we are most likely going to have horrible cell phone service, we connected to that free guest Wi-Fi. After all, it is only available for guests, right? Most hotels have other free Wi-Fi hotspots too, but those are much slower, but our guest login will be much better, right? Now the attacker just creates his clone to be my favorite hotel guest Wi-Fi name. And now whenever you get close to that, your phone connects to it instead of being connected to the authentic connection. But that isn't the evil part of the evil twin attack. The evil part is how they hack you, which is a bit different than how they do a man-in-the-middle attack. What they do is so simple, it catches most people completely off guard. When you bring up your browser, you will get an error message saying you are not logged in and you need to log in. This error page will look very authentic, but the login info they want are things like your email address, which is often what places use anyways, and your email password. Now, this may seem rather obvious that you don't put in your email password, but so many people do it anyway. And a more strategic one will ask you for your email address and the hotel's Wi-Fi password, which many people will fall for, as it looks like it is validating your access on two different levels. One, making sure you are you by checking the email address of those registered there. And two, checking to make sure you have that super secret guest Wi-Fi password. But then the next screen might look like an email login screen and say something like, "We have sent you a verification link. Please log into your email to get this link." Now you go ahead and log in with your real name, credentials, and voila, they now own you. Once they have your email address and login information, they can do whatever they want online and make it look like you. But it doesn't stop at email account information. Oh no, they may ask you for other information like your credit card, expiration date, and the code on the back, just to make sure it is really you so they can cross-check it against the registration data on file. And yes, people are falling for this trick all of the time, and that is often how identity theft starts. Now, the difference between this and the man-in-the-middle attack is that the evil twin attack is just trying to get specific pieces of information. The man-in-the-middle attack is usually allowing you to have actual internet access, but it is grabbing all of your data that you are passing back and forth to legitimate websites through this thing called packet sniffing. Packet sniffing, in essence, intercepts the data packets that are transmitted between devices on a network. And if those data packets are not encrypted, it is very easy to see what is inside the packet. So the attacker now can see what websites you go to, what email accounts you log into, what bank accounts you access. And they can grab all that data as it is passed back and forth across the old intrawebs, which includes login names and passwords. But the hackers have gone to new lengths now to try to hack you at your most vulnerable point. Now they are doing it in airports and on airplanes. Yep, in airports and on airplanes. They are now spoofing, cloning, or copying legitimate networks like my favorite airport free Wi-Fi or my favorite frequent flyer club free Wi-Fi, things like that. Then after the plane is taken off, after you are tens of thousands of feet in the air, they turn on their hack spot, and then unsuspecting people grab their phone, their laptop, their tablet, whatever, and try to get some work done and see that wonderful Wi-Fi signal and try to connect. Now it can just act like it is having trouble connecting to the internet. After all, you are 30,000 feet above the ground. No one will ever suspect a thing. And when you land, now the hacker can grab another flight back home or to some other destination and find himself some other unsuspecting victims to hack. But you can take some steps to protect yourself from these hacks. First thing is to never connect to free public Wi-Fis in the first place. In fact, the best protection might be to make it a point to always turn your Wi-Fi off when not in a secure location. So if you're at the office, you can connect to your office Wi-Fi. But when you leave, then turn off the Wi-Fi on your phone so it is only able to access the internet through the data provided by your phone carrier. Now, if you find yourself in a situation where you absolutely have to connect to a free public hotspot, then take these precautions. Turn on your Wi-Fi and then go to connections and see what hotspots there are. Most places will have one free hotspot. If you see two with the same identical name, then avoid those like the plague. Now, larger places may have multiple ones, like a hotspot for each floor in a hotel, or one for the conference area, and they may have similar names. When you look at them, look to make sure they are secured. They require a password and then only use the password provided by that establishment. They will usually never ask you for your email address, definitely not your email password or any other personally identifying information. Once you get connected, take care of whatever you need to. Send that email, do that search, then get logged off. Then do this to make sure you stay protected. Go back to your Wi-Fi connections and delete or forget that connection. Yeah, I know. The next time you go there, you will have to go through all of this again, but it is the price to pay for security. If you do not delete that connection, then anyone can use that connection name anywhere in the world, and your phone will automatically connect to it without you ever knowing, all in the name of convenience. The biggest thing you can also do is to always use a VPN. Even a free VPN is better than no VPN. At least then there is some level of data encryption which will protect your data as it is passed back and forth in the old interwebs out there. And of course, the best way to protect yourself from these types of attacks is simply to not use Wi-Fi. But then who can do that in this day and age?